COVID pandemic has accelerated digital adoption in AEC industry. The ever-evolving technologies are reshaping the way AEC teams work. More firms are embarking on BIM and integrated digital delivery, IDD, paving towards digital transformation. Our BIM solution has helped many firms accelerate their path towards IDD. Archicad is a dynamic BIM tool which meets local IDD requirement. Enjoy greater design freedom and unleash your creativity with Archicad. Work and secure real-time teamwork with a leading open BIM authoring tool. Archicad is a complete, out-of-the-box documentation tools. Pitch your ideas with quality and artistic renders. When you choose Archicad, you're assured of our expert support every step of the way. Graphisoft BIM solutions enable seamless team collaboration anytime, anywhere. Embrace your IDD journey with us today.
Hi everyone, thank you for taking time to attend Enabling Integrated Digital Delivery today with us. My name is Carmen and I'm your host for today. The whole duration should take 2 hours. We will focus on the topics of Integrated Digital Delivery and Archicad 25. Do stay with us as the last lucky draw prize, which is sponsored by 3D5, will be drawn during the networking chat. Please ensure that you log in with the credentials that you've registered for the event. Just a reminder that you will have to be present for the prizes. As you see on the right-hand corner of your screen, please feel free to ask any questions that you have and we will address them during the Q&A session. Let's kickstart our event today with our Managing Director for Singapore and Malaysia, Edmund Lau, to say a few words to you guys. Edmund, please.
On behalf of Graphisoft, a very warm welcome to all our guests and partners who are here together with us today. Today, we are going to cover a key topic that has always been the most talked about in the AEC industry, that is integrated digital delivery. Across industry and around the world, technology is constantly and rapidly evolving every day. It has fundamentally changed how firms operate and deliver values to its clients. Integrated digital delivery is part of the digital transformation journey for many AEC firms, and it marks a rethinking of how firms use technology, people, and processes to deliver their project in a far more efficient manner, minimize costly rework, saving time and cost. Global survey has shown that the pandemic has accelerated the adoption of digital technologies by several years, and many of the change will be here for a long haul. To stay competitive in this new business climate, digital technologies capabilities such as IDD stand out as one of the key factors for success. The question now is not why, but what and how. In this webinar, we will provide you insight into integrated digital delivery. Why is it important to embrace it? The strategic approach to its implementation, and the immense benefits it brings to your practice, project stakeholders, and clients. Our BIM solutions bring productivity to new heights by empowering teams to collaborate and coordinate seamlessly. Enjoy greater design freedom through our powerful design features. Achieve high-quality visualization that bring your BIM model to life, and a complete out-the-box documentation tool that complies with the BIM requirement in Singapore and Malaysia. Apart from our product, we have a comprehensive e-learning program put together in our Graphisoft Learn portal to sharpen our user BIM and Archicad knowledge. Our BIM experts are always at hand to assist every Archicad users. Embrace and make your integrated digital delivery journey as a seamless experience with us. We are here for you. We look forward to building together with you. Thank you, and I will hand over the time to the next speaker.
Thank you, Edmund. We are very honored to have invited our keynote speaker, Nathan, who is currently the director at Scoot. Nathan is a registered architect based in Australia and is highly regarded as the expert in BIM processes and Archicad. Today, we will learn more about why it is important to embrace integrated digital delivery in your practice and the strategic approach to implement with the keynote address, Connecting the Dots for Success.
Hi, my name's Nathan Hildebrandt, and today I want to talk to you about integrated digital delivery, connecting the dots for success. In my presentation today, I'm going to cover off with a bit of an introduction to the topic, give you a little bit of insight and a little bit about myself, because that always kind of gives a bit of context to a presentation, understanding where my views and opinions have been drawn from and throughout my career. I'm going to talk to you about the why, how, and what of IDD. Then I'm going to talk about the digital transition in terms of your journey to IDD, and then close out this presentation this afternoon with a conclusion. So in terms of an introduction, it's really important to kind of understand the context behind what this is all about and the benefits and the like before we kind of delve into a little bit more detail. So first of all, the architecture, engineering, construction and operation industries, or AECO as it's kind of known as an acronym, is probably one of the most disjointed and disparate sectors within the world. Now, many processes within the construction industry haven't actually changed in hundreds or thousands of years, depending upon the trade that you're looking at. Now, with many other sectors around the world, we're seeing continual productivity increases, and these productivity increases are either moving at CPI or greater than CPI, and the AECO industries are actually lagging behind those sectors across the globe, and it's disappointing that's the case. So, there's international standards now available, technology and new processes that can actually assist the AECO industries to make significant productivity gains. Okay, so integrated digital delivery is a process concept that seeks to use technology and connect and bring together those different parties, so in the design and construction phases of the built environment. And this can produce greater efficiencies. It reduces risk. It improves communication and collaboration processes, which are vital in complex projects that we design and build on a daily basis. But in my presentation today, I'm going to share with you the reasons why it's important. Okay, so and why it's important for you and your own business to embrace these integrated digital delivery processes, and then show you some of the steps you can take to begin your digital transition. But before I step into that, I'd like to give you a little bit of an introduction about myself. So from myself, I've had a career in the architectural profession now for spanning 18 years. So I commenced as a student at Fulton Trotter Architects at the end of 2002, and I worked through to my registration as an architect here in Queensland, Australia in 2008. Now, then I kept progressing my way through within that organisation up into a director level at Fulton Trotter Architects in 2017. And in 2019, I decided to sell my shareholdings and depart Fulton Trotter. Then I began my own practice, Skewed. So also in 2019, I was awarded a fellowship with the Australian Institute of Architects for my contribution to the profession. Now, over that 18 years, I've been fortunate enough to work on just around 100 projects, and those projects have been across the aged care, education, community, residential, retail and sports sectors. Those projects are ranged in price from $100,000 through to $100 million. And I've also been fortunate enough to be invited to present on over 60 occasions across Australia, North America, Europe, and now as of today, also within Asia. Also, throughout the last couple of years, I've obtained some BIM accreditations. So some BIM creds through Building Smart Australasia and building information management practitioner through Operam Academy. I've been fortunate enough to win a BIM award from the UK. Taking out an award from the UK from Australia is quite a feat, so I'm very proud of that award. But also, as we're sitting here today, we've now launched 34 podcast episodes through the Digital Transition podcast series. I've also organised personally 4 conferences for Archicad users, spanning from 2015 through to my last event here in 2021. We had 1,600 people register and attend over the 24-hour period that we ran it. I'm also involved in 4 industry associations. I'm the chair of BrisBim, the chair of the AIA and the ACA Queensland Northern Territory BIM Task Force. I'm a committee member at Built ANZ and also a board member and director of Building Smart Australasia. I've also contributed to 4 industry reports across the last few years. So just give you a little bit of insight into my practice, Skewed. So Skewed as a practice, I'm still practicing architecture. So I'm still providing those services. But through COVID, and obviously you recognise that whilst you've got a set of skills, you may as well expand on them and use it. So I also provide consulting services. So I consult to architectural practices, engineers, contractors and owners, assisting them with regards to BIM, Archicad, and also ISO 19650 standards. And then I also provide training. So training services for Archicad and training services across BIM. So that gives you a little bit of an insight behind who I am and the experience that I have at this point in time. So now I'd like to touch on kind of the why and the how and the what of integrated digital delivery. Now, it's really, really important to note, I guess, we're talking today with participants across Singapore and Malaysia. So it's kind of like 2 different kind of approaches, with the Singapore government pushing very hard right now on that digital delivery approach, and hence why we're talking about it today as a topic. But there's a lot of benefits here for architects within the profession to embrace these processes, even if you do not have clients asking for them. So it's really important to note that. So the key thing, I guess, that we want to talk about first of all is this is some information from the Building Construction Authority from Singapore. So they're talking about the benefits to the project in terms of saving time. We're talking about saving costs, talking about increasing profits. We're trying to make the project safer, and we're trying to, deliver a higher quality project outcome. And the different stakeholders, all of the stakeholders along the whole supply chain are going to get value for this. So the owner or the developer, the designer, the fabricator, the contractor, or the asset or FM manager. So all of those people, all of the people within the supply chains, all of the different parties will all benefit, and the project overall will benefit as well. So there's lots of kind of positives about trying to embrace this whole thing. Now, what are the types of things, I guess, we can kind of see from this? So we're talking about digital design. So we're talking about doing all of our work within Archicad, within a 3D environment, relying more on a 3D process rather than doing less 2D processes, more 3D processes. We're talking about digital fabrication. So the transition from taking our model from where we've worked within Archicad and being able to incorporate that or set that up so that fabricators on the construction side can actually utilize our models and be able to add value to what we've done rather than starting from scratch. And then we've got digital asset delivery and management. So this is where we're taking the actual outcomes from the design and construction phases and adding them, or essentially utilizing them as the fundamental, the base point for which we are, which assets are managed. Now we've also got digital construction. And within the digital construction side of things, it's the builders being able to use different technology to assist them to build things smarter and safer. And I use the word smarter rather than faster because The problem is you could say the word faster, but in the end, they're saving time because of their working smarter by embracing technology and processes to help them see what's to be built and be able to program it that more effectively. So these are the number of use cases across the value chain, and I don't want to talk too much detail about these, but you'll have access to this slide or through the BCA. It's actually on their website, so you'll actually have access to this to identify the areas of uses that you can utilize within your organization to actually make savings, deliver things faster, or have a higher quality output, or reduce risk to you within your business. Now, when we talk about all of these supply chain issues and all of the items that we want to try and deliver, there's no tool alone that can do it. And, you know, I often try and identify with kind of movies, you know, and the Lord of the Rings, you know, one ring to rule them all. There really is no one tool to rule them all when it comes to delivering projects. But you'll understand what I mean by that shortly. Now, overall, the number of pieces of architecture, the number of pieces of software that you may need to use, or the supply chain may need to call upon to perform these tasks and obtain benefits from IDD or obtain benefits from BIM, are listed here on this slide. Now, they're not all there. There might be some pieces of software that you use that are not shown there. But the key thing to understand is that this is not all obtained. This whole outcome isn't obtained just by using one piece of software. So it is a collection of tools that enable you to do this. Now, the key thing with all of this is to find tools and work with tools that connect together. Tools that enable you to actually seamlessly work between each of the tools to deliver these outcomes. So this is a diagram I've used for a number of years in my presentations to talk about the importance of understanding that we want to add value and progress the data through each of the phases, through the planning phase, the design phase, and the build and the operational phases. And normally I tie this up really, really importantly with the IFC logo. And one of the things that I think is really, really important to understand about this is that we are very, very lucky in the sense that Archicad is open BIM friendly. Okay, so when I talk about not using one tool, I want to talk about the fact that Archicad actually becomes the centerpiece to your workflows. It becomes the centerpiece to all of the other pieces of software that you saw in that bubble, being able to connect to and add value to Archicad or assist you to deliver other things that are over and above what Archicad can do itself. Okay. Now, in most circumstances, that's through plugins and APIs, but a key component to all of this is being able for Archicad to function well in an open BIM environment. So it means that you're able to take that information from Archicad and use it and transfer that information to other parties, but it also means that information can come in from other parties and Archicad can utilize that as well. Now, in terms of some of these BIM uses, so this is kind of processes that I've used or I'm aware of to actually achieve outcomes within my organization. So first of all, a process in terms of capturing. Now, I guess one thing other to note, I guess, is when I'm not going to cover off on every single process that you can achieve, we'd be here for a whole day to discuss that. And you know, I'm more than happy to have conversations with you about other potential workflows you could embrace that I haven't covered in today, or go into more detail about these processes in another conversation with you. But what I want you to see here is that there are processes in place to add value or assist me to do my job within my practice and assist my business to deliver outcomes. So in this instance, I'm using a Ricoh Theatre 360, or a Ricoh Theatre V. I got mixed up with my Insta360, but the 360-degree camera. The 360-degree camera, we go on site, put it on a tripod, and take a number of photos. We then put that into a piece of software like MetaReel, and and then we can bring it in as a 3D file through ModelPort. And then that API at ModelPort connects to Archicad directly and functions as an API, bringing in that external geometry. So there's a really powerful methodology of capturing reasonably accurate. It's not going to be 100% accurate information. Now, there are other processes where you have more complex projects where greater accuracy is required, and you'll look to do laser scanning instead. But this is one methodology you can use as well. Most people will be familiar with Graphisoft, so using Graphisoft as a database as a briefing tool from the planning phase, rather than having a few hundred pages of room data sheets that are in paper or PDF or Word form, connecting them all up and directly through Archicad, auditing how that's working. The guys from Enzyme, you've seen them present numerous times, and Jorge's on today as well. But Grasshopper and Rhino connecting to Archicad provides a really powerful tool, not only for generative design, but in this instance, what we've taken is the trees that have been provided from a surveyor in a text file and fed that into a library part to place all of the trees within Archicad based upon their location, trunk size, height, and canopy diameter. So little processes like this can save you, hours and hours on end, especially when you have a site. We have a few hundred trees. Visualization. So normally the first step that I talk about when it comes to Archicad or in terms of BIM is about communicating your design to your stakeholders. So in my practice, I'm using Archicad with Enscape and my Oculus Rift S, and those tools are what I use on a daily basis to communicate to my clients and contractors that I'm working with. Archicad's a powerful tool through the use of BIMX. Don't doubt that one bit. It's actually something I've used for my whole career, but now utilizing Enscape with my Oculus Rift, it's just next level type stuff. Bluebeam, in terms of people that are trying to move from a markup process into one that can be audited within Archicad, so the Bluebeam connection to Archicad works a treat in that sense. And it's a digital process. It's still kind of a manual thing, marking up a drawing, but in the short-term future, we still have drawings as a deliverable. So we need to continue to find ways in which we can, embrace those processes. Now, in terms of the first kind of collaboration approach, we're talking, processes that I've worked in for a number of years, back into 2004, 2005, 14 and 15, a decade too earlier, where we're working with consultants in Revit, we're working with civil engineers in 12D. They need to send us IFCs and we need to send them IFCs. So those processes are really critical in terms of being able to communicate, collaborate, reduce risks through conflicts, clashes, and designs that are missing what they're supposed to have included in them. Now, in terms of working with those sorts of processes, normally that's tied to Celebri with Archicad IFC connection to Celebri Office now. It's not Model Checker anymore. That as a process identifies all of the challenges and the problems that you find, and you can capture those. But Celebri as a product really struggles to manage issues and report them clearly. So you can use a tool like Bim Collab or Bim Track. Some people are also using Revisto to dashboard and track and manage issues. And this is a platform where people that are working within the model or even outside of the model can log into this project or personal website for the project and actually deal with it and resolve the problems. Now, moving on from collaboration from a geometry perspective, we then kind of move to COBie or facilities management databases. And the key thing to remember with all of this is that COBie isn't so bad, or delivering information for FM isn't so bad. What it comes down to is the structuring the information that we currently produce as architects into a format that the client's wanting to use as part of their FM system. So it isn't a problem. You can see here that there's a door number on a plan, there's a door number on an elevation. It's exported out in IFC. Celebri's reading that door number as its ID, then you can see the information that goes through when it's exported as into a spreadsheet view of Kobe. So there are so many ways in which, you know, this information can be captured and moved on. But this is, I guess, a screenshot of all of the tools that I'm using within my organization to assist me to deliver my projects, you know, not even for, you know, thinking from an architecture perspective, podcasts, video recordings, everything. All of them are in there. Sharing information with clients through SharePoint, you know, Notion through, you know, in terms of a client interface or the like. So there's so many different ways in which, even though Archicad's a really important part, you got to remember there are other pieces to the puzzle to assist you. So in terms of the digital transition and your journey to integrated digital design. So what I guess the key thing is here is you need to be on a trajectory that's essentially ahead of your peers, right? So you need to be in a position whereby you have a team within your organization that's delivering outcomes. Those outcomes need to be resolved well before your client want them. If you need to start resolving things at the pace that your client wants them, in terms of trying to deliver that at that pace, your organization will probably fail. And then on the same note, you need to bring your project team, which are going to be a little bit slower at learning, up on a slower curve compared to the development curve. Okay, so that's really probably the fundamental behind all of this in terms of implementation. Now, how does this work? Now, we need to go through this in a pretty quick way, but you got to think of the deliverable. What are the deliverables that your clients are actually asking for, or your consultants, or anyone in the supply chain for that matter? Then, is there a BIM use or a methodology of which that can actually assist you to achieving that deliverable over and above what you're doing today? Then you put together your implementation plan. So you got to go, what's the deliverable? What is it? What uses or technology can assist me to get there? And then set together an implementation plan. Now the implementation plan needs to think of a lot of things. It needs to think of the people. How do you train the people? What's the most important thing? People are the most important thing when it comes to implementation. We need to think about standards. What standards are there that we need to follow that people can follow, or the process needs to follow to enable us to deliver in the outcome? What technology is available to assist us to do this? And then after you understand people, standards, and technology, we then develop our process. So that's the methodology of achieving this and being able to deliver on an outcome. So overall, we then kind of the way in terms of I look at it, first of all, we need to be really good at modeling geometry. Geometry is the kind of fundamental to the whole process. If you can model your geometry correctly, not just for a set of drawings, but for a delivering of a model, that's the fundamental to get right. Then we think about our own internal information that's useful for our own internal processes, and then what information is useful for others. Okay, so then out of geometry, we're getting our documentation, we're getting visualization, we're getting environmental studies we can do coordination with our consultants, we can do scheduling in terms of construction scheduling. We can then derive quantities. Okay, so that's the kind of fundamental kind of base point that we're starting with. Then we move over to information for documentation. Now from that, we can then do smart labeling, and it's something that I've been going on for about 6-7 years. It's really, really important that if you put the right information into your model, it means that all of your labeling is correct. But then when you also export it out as an IFC, it actually has meaningful information attached to it. So it means that estimation can be done then. It understands not just the quantities, but also then it gives it information about what that is actually made, what the geometry is made of. And then this forms the basis of models that can be fabricated from. Now we're talking about information for others. So we want to now go to things like Kobe, and we want to be able to go to other FM deliverables. Okay, so they're kind of the background behind all of this information in its entirety. So the key thing with all of this is just to remember, Archicad for me is the centerpiece. It's the one tool that I start with and what I use for everything. But then you do need to embrace other pieces of software, other tools, hardware, software, other technology to enable you to essentially achieving your desired outcomes of integrated digital delivery. So in terms of a conclusion, from my perspective, I think we've got to remember that as a industry, as a business, as a practice, as a whole myriad of different issues, we need to realize that we are so disconnected in the way in which we work. We all do things slightly differently. We all work about things in different ways and all those other things. So the key thing is first of all to understand, what opportunities do you have to enable the connection? What opportunities are there out there that can assist you to communicate more clearly with your stakeholders? What can you do to achieving better built outcomes and essentially delivering, projects for lower costs, saving time in delivering them, reducing the risk as your organization in terms of being able to save yourself because you've modeled everything, that it all works and there's less claims against you as a professional. They're the kind of things that I think that are fundamental to all of this. And integrated digital delivery does this for you because it highlights the processes you can adopt as an organization to succeed. You just need to take the path that I suggested, and good luck. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Nathan, for the insightful address. If you guys have any questions, please write in to us at the right-hand corner of your screen, and we'll answer them during our Q&A session. Next, we have Eugenio, who is our BIM consultant based in Hong Kong and has his own methodologies and design processes using BIM technology to optimize project development from design, construction, and the whole life cycle of the built asset. Let's hear it from Eugenio how we enable integrated digital delivery with Archicad 25.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is enjoying so far the session on enabling integrated digital delivery today. My name is Eugenio Fontan. I'm an architect and I'm working as a BIM consultant for Graphisoft Asia in Hong Kong. And for the next half an hour, 25 minutes, I will show how the new release of Archicad, this time version 25, will help us to create our integrated digital delivery in a much easier way and in a more efficient and accurate way. So, first of all, as you know, in each release, Archicad brings a lot of new tools, capabilities, and updates and improvements. We're going to talk about some of them, but we're also going to show how these new capabilities can be combined with workflows that will automate a lot of the work we need to do. So let's start with the design stage. As you know, we can develop our project in Archicad from the design stage, from the earliest part of the concept stage, and we can connect Archicad with Rhinoceros and Grasshopper. Okay, the connection in between Archicad and Rhinoceros and Grasshopper has been going on for a while. It has been updated in Archicad 25, and it will be able to leverage on the automation capabilities of Grasshopper. Following this, connection with Grasshopper, we will be able to use the Bison set of tools, okay, in Grasshopper to automate the generation of terrains, okay, in Archicad by using the land XML file format, okay, which is a common format generated by land surveyors. Okay, so using this and Bison, we will automate the creation of our meshes. And then, of course, Solibri. Okay, we have the connection between Archicad and Solibri that can help us to do a quality check in a very easy and smart way, saving a lot of time. And then we will use the Python API to connect Archicad with different type of databases. Okay, in this case, we can see how in Airtable we will be able to add to Archicad a lot of different layers of information. Okay, so all this combination of workflows will allow us to create a smart process to create our integrated digital delivery from the design stage. So let's start from the beginning. Let's see the the Grasshopper Archicad connection. So this project that you can see, this stunning twisted tower, is a design shared by Design BPD with us. And as you know, once we have a model like this in Archicad, the floor plans, sections, elevations, the areas, all the schedules are all automatically generated from the model. Okay, we have them in our set of documents. And what we're going to do now to show you how to do this is that we are going to delete this design option, okay, this tower completely, and we're going to use the connection with Grasshopper to develop another design option, okay? And we're going to do it very fast because we're going to leverage, as I was saying, on the capability of Grasshopper on automation. Okay, so when we go to Rhino Grasshopper, this is the look of our tower here, okay? And you can see that by tweaking, the slides with a couple of clicks, we can change the geometry completely. Okay, our design goes from a square to an heptagon or a triangular floor plate that is twisted as we go high. Okay, and this rotation angle can be changed very easily. Our design can be changed, with a few clicks thanks to Grasshopper. So once we have the design option that we like, okay, we choose and we activate the connection. Okay, so once the connection is active, okay, once it's running, all the components that send parts from Grasshopper into Archicad, we have this boolean that we select and we click, so we go from false to true. So then this element starts to send data to Archicad. As you can see, we had the facade elements, some of the zones. Now we're going to send walls, glazing, shading elements, structural elements, and it's a process that it just takes a few seconds, okay, even in such a large complex project, okay, with a lot of curves. All these elements keep coming automatically. So now the latest one is the spaces that are on the inside the core of the project with the core walls, and I think we still need to send something else, which is the columns. Okay, so the structure of the tower, the columns are coming. There they are. So as easy as this, we have another design option. Okay, we didn't have to model anything. Everything was leveraged on Grasshopper. And again, the documentation of our project can be automated with one click. Here we have the old floor plans, and now we have the new ones. Okay, we have also the sections, these 3D documents, all this documentation that otherwise will take a lot of time to generate. You can see how smooth Archicad can move, and we automate all the drawings, and there you go. The tower is automated, all the geometry is there. Okay, already quite detailed for being concept stage. And also the areas, the Gfa calculation in Archicad is updated. And when it comes to the sections and the elevations, I just want to highlight, one of the new capabilities of Archicad 25, which is that we can create these sections and elevations you see on the screen, which are as if they were rendered, because we can display, the surfaces of our materials. Okay, we can display, as you can see, the concrete surface, the wooden timber of the finish of the columns, even the glazing with the shadows. But we can also create a simplified representation, okay, plain colors, and we can also show these projected elements in black and white. Okay, so we will show a bit more about these new graphic capabilities of Archicad that will save a lot of time on the creation of these documents. All right, so once we learn how to automate design options very fast, let's go to see how to create the terrain of our project in Archicad by just using land.xml file format created by the surveyor. So the land surveyor. So the workflow in this case works is again, Bison is a set of tools for Grasshopper, okay, and Rhinoceros, and we will have our land.xml file format, okay, provided by the land surveyor. And what we want to do is to create our terrain in Archicad, okay, as accurate as possible using the mesh tool, but we don't want to model everything manually. So with this, workflow, okay, with this process, using the connection, we will automate the generation of our terrain. So as you can see, on the left-hand side, we have Grasshopper, on the right, we have Archicad, and the connection is running. So from the Bison set of tools, we select the import mesh land.xml file format component, and now we're going to select the file path component to retrieve the file that is on our local drive. Okay, here we are, and then we connect this file into this import mesh component. We have the option of flip the coordinates x and y. We're going to select this toggle boolean, which is very convenient to activate or or deactivate the certain capabilities, like this one now is in false. And now we're going to select a common component in Grasshopper, which is the construct mesh. we connect our mesh to this component, and we're going to use the vertices, okay, now to generate our mesh in Archicad. So when it comes to use the Archicad components in Grasshopper, we select in the mesh settings. So the idea is that we can, since the connection is running, we can select any setting from Archicad and connect it into our mesh in Grasshopper. Okay, again, another Boolean toggle, okay, to decide when we send the mesh to Archicad. Okay, so we send things step by step, so we don't ask too much from our machine. Okay, and then the vertices will be connected into the points of the mesh in Archicad. Then when it comes to settings, as I was saying, connection running, let's retrieve some settings from Archicad. In this case, the layer. Okay, so we're going to choose the layer. Those are the Archicad layers. Okay, I'm going to select the side landscape terrain, and we're going to connect to the layer, but we could really add much more parameters and attributes from Archicad. So we connect the settings into the mesh settings of the mesh component, and now we select the Boolean toggle, we switch it to true, and the mesh will go to our Archicad project. So once we do zoom into the screen, you can see that the mesh of our project, the terrain, has been completely generated without having to model a single polygon or anything. Okay, a couple of minutes, if we have the survey information, we have our terrain in Archicad. Okay, we're leveraging in automation. Okay, we want to save time and be more accurate. Now, when it comes to Archicad and Solibri connection, as you know, for many versions already, there has been this direct connection in between Solibri and Archicad to be able to, run this quality check in a much easier way. So let's see which are the new enhancements of this connection.
Model-based BIM collaboration workflows between architects and other stakeholders rely on quick and easy model exchange and accurate model checking tools. Seamless collaboration with Revit is crucial for many architects. The RFA RVT Geometry Exchange add-on is now built into Archicad. Let's see how this versatile tool works. Export RVT models from Archicad. Hotlink RVT models into Archicad with precise geometry and properties. Import MEP equipment into your Archicad project in addition to doors, windows, and objects using the Import RFA as GDL object command. Let's see an example of placing an outdoor roof-mounted air conditioning unit. Activate the Import RFA as GDL object command. Locate the file and open it. Confirm the recommended MEP equipment as the desired library part type. Optimize the geometry on the slider and click Import. After the object is imported, locate it in the embedded library. Then set its parameters. It has similar options to native Archicad MEP elements, for example, various MEP systems for each connection. After placing the object, integrate it into your MEP model by connecting it to the existing piping system. The enhanced Archicad Solibri connection add-on saves time with an instant quality check of your project. Download the add-on from Graphisoft.com. Install it, then open its palette from the window menu. Click on Start Solibri. When Solibri is running, click Export to Solibri. The model will automatically appear in Solibri. After making some changes in the model in Archicad, click Update in Solibri, and it will update only the changed elements. This is much faster and easier than exporting the entire model as IFC again. Let's see how the new functionalities work. Export views of the structural analytical model. The analytical members of these views will be transferred to Solibri with their physical counterparts. Transfer the selection basket's contents and even the viewpoint from Solibri to easily select the same elements in Archicad and start working on them by using the Get Selection Basket plus Viewpoint command in Archicad. Enjoy the benefits of smooth, seamless collaboration with all project stakeholders thanks to Archicad's enhanced collaboration tools. To learn more about Archicad, visit Graphisoft.com.
All right, so how do we apply these new capabilities into our project? So once again, we go with our twisted tower, okay, from Enzyme, and this is how our tower looks in Solibri. Okay, so using the connection, we can have the project inside Solary. And on the left-hand side, we have a lot of rules that we have created to, do quality check to comply with the local regulations of Singapore in this case. So in order to demonstrate, we're going to just empty all the rule sets. We're just going to add one rule. Okay, we're going to practice with this one. We're going to show you what is possible to achieve. And this Gfa calculator, okay, it's a set of rules that will calculate the GFA, but following the requirements of, again, the local standards, in this case the URA. So we include the slabs, okay, or even the area that is covered by a slab above, okay. And again, we also can handle, decide how we include or exclude different elements like cable chambers, switch rooms, elements open to space, spaces that require 45-degree exemptions. We can handle and have in consideration all these particularities, and we can create even more, okay. And once we have checked the rules, we click on check the model. Okay, so Solibri will check our model, and we will see the result very soon. So there we go, the check has been done, and what we have as a result is a GFA calculation per floor. Okay, so when we select each of these as results on the left hand side, we'll see that floor isolated with the area in green. Okay, that green surface is the area that we have calculated. Every time we select each of these elements, we can see on the left, on the information below, the GFA of that story, and on the right side we see the accumulated GFA. So you can see there now on the right side that it says 155,000 square meters, okay, of total of GFA accumulated. So that's the total GFA of our tower. Okay, let's have a look, in close to the geometry, to our project in Solary, and let's see how exactly this area, this green surface, has been generated in the relation with our project. So let's do a cut. Okay, let's cut our model. Let's do a section in 3D. Okay, and then let's see again all the geometry, overlay with the GFA calculation. So you can see this green area in each floor goes beyond the glazing, okay, of the facade, because it also has in consideration the slab above, okay, that it's covering our floor plan. But for example, we don't include the structural walls of the core of the structure of the project. So what we're going to do is to update the rules, and we're going to include these walls, okay, because these walls occupy space. They should be incorporated on the GFA of the calculation, okay. So needs to include, okay, whether are occupied, the walls or covered by these walls. Okay, once we have added, the rule is updated, and we can run our check again. So what we'll do is to compare this 155,000 square meters of GFA with the new result. So we click and check again. Just as a reminder, as I was saying, we're trying to comply with the local regulations, in this case Singapore. This GFA calculator has been developed accordingly with the regulations of the URA, okay, URA in Singapore. And as I was saying, all these rules can be customized to match the requirements of your local submission, okay, your city, your country, okay, to adapt with those standards and do a quality check that it really gives reliable information. So again, after a few more seconds, the check has been finished, and we have again a result per floor, okay. And now, as you can see, the green area goes even through the walls, and the total GFA has gone up for even more than 1,000 square meters. Okay, 1,000 square meters just because of the walls. So these little things, as you can see, have a great impact in our project. We should be able to update, and modify these rules in a flexible way, so we have the right result generated automatically. All right, now let's see how to generate keynotes in Archicad with the help of Airtable. So how this workflow goes, we have a project in Archicad, okay, and we want to use Airtable, okay. In this case, we're using this database, okay, to generate different layers of information. that we create, will be our keynote. So first of all, we have a primary index, okay, which is, as you can see, rail, BRKW, for brickwork. We have different codes for different things, different elements in the project. And then we have a subindex, okay, which is a family of numbers, okay, that together they will create a code. That code will be added to an element and it will be connected with a description, okay, a specification. So that's how keynoting works. So what we will do is, using a very simple Python script, we will export this data from the database, from Airtable, in XML format, okay, an open format that can be, brought into Archicad as a property, okay, and then we'll have all this information automatically in Archicad without having to generate it manually. The second step will be how we handle this, the keynote values. So I was saying, we import the two properties, okay, these two values, which are going to be the code, primary index and subindex. But then we have the keynote value, which is the description. So you can see the balustrade and handle description, common brick, and so on. So this information also needs to be added to Archicad, but following the right code. Okay, so after we have added the codes, we can automatically add the right description to the elements. Again, by using Python, and we can go back and forth, okay? Meaning that if there are changes, we will be able to update them in our project. So let's see how this workflow goes. So this is, again, our tower, okay, the one provided by SIMAPD, Twisted Tower, and we're gonna have a look to Keynote. So here we have the primary index list, okay, and then we have the subindex, okay, the codes for the different primary indexes, and then we'll have a value, okay, a description, specification connected to a code. This is how keynoting works. So what we want to be able to do is to automate this into Archicad. So for example, we don't have any property already in Archicad about this, okay, we're just going to automatically add it. So as I was saying, right in our Python script, we're exporting these indexes from Airtable. Okay, so first is the primary index. Okay, so we run the code and all these indexes, a couple of seconds they're out, okay, in XML format, so we can import them in Archicad, and we do the same with subindexes. So once we have them, we will be able to import them using the property manager. Okay, the XML format is an open file format, it's open standard, and we import the primary index, and now we import the subindex. So the advantage here is that all the information generated by the quantity surveyor in the database, okay, in Airtable, automatically will become option sets in our properties. Okay. So once we have them inside, okay, we have all the codes, we will be adding them, as part of the design intention to each element. And now we're going to create a third property, in this case from Archicad, okay, which is going to be the keynote value. Okay, so the idea is that keynote value is empty. So this value is empty, and we will see later how, again, from Airtable, we will populate this information, we'll add this description into Archicad. So these properties will apply to all elements in the project. We just select, using the Find and Select menu, all the slabs that are structural building material and are in the particular layer structural slabs. And you will see that all these elements, okay, in this case 69 slabs, already have the properties that we added. So we can select the right keynote, okay, the right code. And again, the value, the description, is still empty. Okay, so we just need to decide is first which code goes into each element. And once we have done that, what we want is to add a description, not one by one or manually. We want that to happen again automatically. So using the Python script, we will export the keynote values in to XML file format, and we will import into Archicad. But the particularity here is that these properties, this information added to the element, will follow the right order. Okay. So again, we have added them. We have exported all the keynote values, and you can see that now, because we put the primary and the index and the subindex, conc 3.3, the right description is following that code, following the same order as we had in the Airtable database. To show also this, in our drawings, in our documentation, we just create a label that will have through auto text. We will call these properties, and we will call these indexes. Okay, and we will compose the keynote, the code, and the description. So now we add the subindex and then the keynote value. So we can separate these words, and you will see how the description always adapts to the information that is added to that element. In this case, concrete 3.3, and the description added by the quantity, the quantity surveyor or whoever is manipulating the database. So the idea is that a team can manipulate this database outside Archicad, and we as architects, or as an engineer, just import this data in the right way. But what happens when this information is updated? The description change, description gets updated. This happens in any project, any given time. So what we want to do again is to automate the update of this information. So what we do is, once the things have changed on the database, we just run the script again. It's one click, and then all the information that has been changed by the team that is creating these keynotes will be automatically added into Archicad. So just running the script again, and once it's finished, you can see already the label is displaying the right description. So it's that easy how to automate keynoting in Archicad when we connect to a database like Airtable. Okay, so again, it's how we automate all this process and we save time. But this is what we have done on the design stage. There is much more to it. So by using the Python API of Archicad, we will be able to connect with all sorts of databases. Standard databases that, together with, for example, Bim Cloud, is what we call this circle, the collaboration layer. So the idea is that through this API, we'll be able to add, input and output data from Archicad. And together with several technologies that are available for everyone. Like for example, Solibri or BIMX, Arduino. Then using AR and VR systems or AI systems. Then we will use also point cloud technology, IFC and VCF open standards, Grasshopper, or even RFID scan technology. Connected with this collaboration layer, as I was saying, of databases and Archicad, we will be able to perform much more. So if you look at the left-hand side, we will go from progress monitoring or other capabilities we already described, like computational BIM, specifications and keynoting, regulatory quality check, as we did with Solibri. But we will be able to do smart facility management and asset management, and then we'll also be able to coordinate site inspections, issue managements, logistics managements, 4D and 5D simulation, and also use Archicad as a project dashboard. So let's see some of these workflows. In this case, integrated digital delivery at construction stage. So on the right side of the screen, we'll have Archicad, our project. We can see the 3D and the schedule of the site progress. Which we have all the elements, and we have two properties. Two columns of status and timestamp that are empty. So first of all, by using the Python API, we export this information into Google Sheets. And then on the other side, the manufacturer and the contractor can use the RFID technology, and Arduino to scan the codes of the different elements that are going out of the facilities, of the factory, and they go into construction site to scan these elements and send the information to this database. So you will see that some elements have been out for delivery or they have arrived already on site. And this information gets updated through, as I was saying, manufacturer and contractor. Then using the Python API, we can update this information automatically into Archicad. So we add these values of these properties that before were empty, and not only we add data, but thanks to the graphic overrides, we can see by colors the status of the elements that in this example have been out for delivery or already delivered. A similar workflow to this one has been developed together with Venturer Teamwork and Landerlock, okay, which are two Archicad users in Singapore. So, Landerlock architects for developing this project, okay, and the contractor is Venture Teamwork, and they have been doing the structure using this timber, columns and beams and roofs, okay. So the idea is that, using the Python API once more, we can create a schedule from Archicad, okay. I mean, Archicad, we can create schedules and add a lot of information of these elements, but in this schedule, we added a QR code, a unique QR code for each of the elements, okay, of this project. So the idea is that then when the elements arrive on site, okay, each of them have this particular code, and the contractor can scan this code. And once you scan this code, this code will bring, will open BIMX and will have selected exactly the element that we are scanning. What means is that we will see exactly where these elements need to be located, allowing a much faster coordination and construction of our project. And then, using open standards, okay, the IFC schema, we will be able to connect with, all sorts of applications, in this case, Costex, Bexel Manager, or Glodon set of solutions to generate 4D and 5D simulations. And then when it comes to digital handover, so as you can see here, from left to right, we will have all sorts of file formats stored in BIM Cloud. Okay, we have no limitation. We have Archicad files, IFC files, DWGs, PDFs, Rhinoceros files, renders, videos, everything that we need for the project. We have it in BIM Cloud. And then all this information can be input into Archicad. And from Archicad, we will produce all our package of delivery. But we are talking about IDD, okay? We don't want to have or a gigantic set of papers or a gigantic set of unconnected data, okay? Spreadsheets, PDFs, models, things that are not connected. That is not useful. What we want to have, and this is where BIMX comes very handy, is we want to have a package of information where all data is integrated and is linked. So all the information, whether it's in the model, documentation, or data on the elements, can be stored in BIMX, and we can see it and access it on our tablet or on our smartphones. Then, when it comes to scan to BIM, there's a great set of scanners on the market, whether are commercial scanners or do-it-yourself scanners in a much economical way. Or even some of the mobile devices nowadays, they have a very good scan technology on the camera. But the point is, wherever you do, you can import XYZ file formats into Archicad, okay? And when we import this format conversion, there is a post-processing part which will clean and optimize the point cloud into Archicad. And once we have the point cloud, okay, of our facility or existing project, we will be able to do snap to each of all the each and all the points that form this point cloud, which means that we'll be able to model very easily, following the point cloud, our existing facilities. And then when it comes to facility management, there's a lot of things that we could be talking here, but I'm just going to focus on this particular case, which is the fact that we have, for example, this space with different desks, and we want to do the host desking monitoring and control. So from Archicad, once again, using the Python API, we export the data of the each of the desks with the ID and the occupancy status, okay, that shows free right now. And the user, using the BIMX application, they can select one of the elements in the BIMX model, and that information, okay, will be synchronized to this Google Sheets database, and will show the element that has been booked. And then we will be able to update this information into the Archicad model. We will see that the element has been occupied, okay, because again, with the property in a graphic override, this element will change color. So let's see a video of how this happens. So on the left-hand side, we have the user with the BIMX, okay? And again, in this case, we're using the BIMX API to create this option of check hot desk availability, okay? But once this is integrated, we can open this portal of hot desking inside BIMX. So we will select check availability, and then the model will be open, okay, showing all the desks available. So we will be able to select one of the desks that we want to book. And when we select it, we have the option of reserve the seat already in BIM. So once we click on it, we will ask to be identified with our credentials, and we will be able to reserve the seat. And once the seat is reserved, okay, this database will be updated, and through the Python API, the model in Archicad will be updated as well. Okay, so as easy as this is this process. So apart from all these, processes that connect, the intelligence between different solutions, I said at the beginning, Archicad 25, as any new release, comes with new capabilities and new tools and upgrades, always divided in 4 types. Okay, always updates related to design, related to visualization, documentation, and collaboration, making every new update of Archicad really great. So let me show a quick video of an overall view of all the updates that have come into this release. All right. So again, instead of not going to be talking about all these new releases, let me just highlight one of each type. Okay. In this case, design updates. We have an improved navigation between 2D and 3D, which will allow us to design better, to work better in our model. So the way this works is that we can select an element on plan and then select it also on 3D, which means that in large projects it will be much easier to navigate. And then we also can hide the elements, okay? Being, again, much easier to navigate, show and hide both in 3D and 2D. Then when it comes to surface textures in section elevation, I already showed some of this on the twisted tower of the exercise. But, just to show a bit more in detail, both cut and projected elements, okay, and cut elements can display now the surfaces, okay, the textures of our surfaces in the elevation. Okay, we can also show the vectorial fields of the different materials. We can show shadows. We will add much more depth and quality to the visualization. But then we can even fade the distant elements. Okay, so it's much more clear what we will be showing on the section. We can even say that the elements are far away, are in black and white. So all these different capabilities on the display of the information on section elevations allow us to produce really high quality section elevations that before we had to spend a lot of time doing processing in Photoshop or other application. Documentation. Okay, component properties, it has been enhanced. Archicad can calculate a great deal of quantities, but now we can also go more in detail, which means is that we have created these calculation rules. Okay, this consists on the possibility of ignoring, okay, the holes in both an element or a component of an element, okay, in one particular building material of a composite, for example. If we just set up the rule that elements smaller than openings smaller than certain area will not be a count, okay, on the calculation, and then we can apply these to particular elements by classification. So the conclusion is that now we have 3 types of area calculation: the gross area, which doesn't have in consideration any opening; the net area, that has in consideration all the openings; or the conditional, okay, the third one, that has in consideration certain openings depending on the rules. okay, to be more accurate. And then when it comes to collaboration, Archicad has now the new native survey point, which will make much easier, to activate the survey point. We can move it and rotate it, and the origin of the project will change, and all the coordinates automatically will be updated, making much easier to share our projects both using the IFC schema or DWGs. So I hope you enjoy the different processes that we have presented, all developed by a great team effort that probably you guys know already. The whole team, we are always here to support and to help you in everything that is needed, and to provide, as usual, smarter and easier workflows to develop our integrated digital delivery. Thank you very much, and hope to see you very soon.
Thank you, Eugenio. Now that we've learned the what, why, and how of integrated digital delivery, we'd like to highlight how you can leverage on Graphisoft Learn for remote learning. In the next session, our BIM consultants, Rima and Tinesh, will take you through the journey.
Thank you, Carmen. I'm Rima Chopra, BIM consultant Graphisoft, and I will be taking you through Graphisoft Learn portal tonight. With the current pandemic situation that we all are in, for almost 2 years now, Graphisoft has accepted the challenge of upkeeping the skills of our existing and new users by introducing Graphisoft Learn for remote learning. Now, let me take you to the portal direct.
The users can log into Graphisoft Learn portal using their Graphisoft ID, and they can then browse through and enroll for the trainings available in the catalog. The catalog is an extensive deck of not just different categories of training, right from self-paced videos, blended trainings, downloadable ebooks, but also one stop to watch our webinar recordings. Yes, that's correct. Our webinars will also be uploaded to the Learn portal, aside from our YouTube channel. The portal enables easy browsing and training registration process by simply selecting the interested training and making online payment. But hang on, if you are on our service agreement, you can avail 100% discount on most of the trainings under SSA benefit. We have also introduced blended training few months back, and we take pride in sharing that the participants have highly appreciated this hybrid method where they could watch the videos and practice alongside at their own pace, and then come back for a trainer-led live session to clarify their doubts and ask questions if any. These sessions are then followed by a quiz to test the knowledge captured during the self-paced videos as well as trainer-led sessions. Not just that, Graphisoft has also brought a new community platform known as Graphisoft Community. This Graphisoft Community will bring the Help Center and other resources like even our own blog site Asia BIM under one roof. The new portal will make it much easier for Archicad, BIM Cloud, and BIMX users to search for solutions to common questions, get quick help from Graphisoft expert, share best practices with peers, and join fun competitions and design challenges. So if you've not checked it out yet, please scan the QR code on your screen now and bookmark the page. Beside our user community, we have also partnered with educational institutes to impart not just Archicad know-how, but also keep the students at par with the industry by regularly engaging in various curriculum activities and BIM competitions. And one such initiative is Train the Trainer, where our experts would provide hands-on trainings to the teachers and provide them with tips and tricks to enable them to share the same with the students. And it is not limited only to the training. We would also get the trainers familiar with the available resources for help, and if needed, short project-specific consultations for the students can also be arranged. And now I would like to pass the stage to my colleague Dinesh to share more about the localized content on JS Learn portal. Thank you.
Thank you, Rima. Hello, everyone. My name is Dinesh. I'm a Graphisoft BIM consultant based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I would like to add how we are better equipped to support our users in Singapore and Malaysia. We have taken steps towards ensuring our existing customer base in Malaysia are constantly supported and ensuring our new customers are off to a good start once they sign up their BIM journey with us. We have planned for starter pack for our new customer, which consists of Archicad 25 template that better suits the local market, BIM execution template, and basic training video in Bahasa Malaysia. The Archicad 25 template can be used by companies to kickstart their BIM implementation processes. Standardization has been set based on Malaysian standard and is ready to be converted to a company template. This provides a good foundation, especially for the starters, as the templates would provide a guide as to how standardization can be created and applied within their company. The starter pack also includes a BEP template. This is created based on how BEP would be normally drafted here locally. This can act as guide to create project-specific BEP, where the companies can participate in projects that requires BIM. And lastly, the starter pack contains basic training video, not only in English, but also in local language Bahasa Malaysia. We aim to reach further and educate users without limitation. This will provide a gentle learning curve for the local market. The overall intention of the starter pack would be to educate our fellow users and handhold them towards the right way of implementing BIM processes in their company, and at the same time, maximizing the benefit that can be gained from using Archicad. Saya ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada pengguna-pengguna yang hadir daripada Malaysia dan Singapura. Dengan adanya video basic training dalam bahasa Malaysia, kami dari Graphisoft berharap bahawa pengguna-pengguna Archicad kini akan mempunyai lebih daripada satu pilihan untuk menonton video latihan dan boleh mencapai dan memenuhi keperluan pasaran tempatan. With that, I would like to play a teaser video of the basic training recorded in bahasa Malaysia. Kita akan lihat navigator untuk menunjukkan pokok struktur view untuk seluruh projek. Bawah sekali, kita ada butang settings di mana tetapan tingkat atau stories boleh dikawal. Tingkat boleh ditambah, ketinggian tingkat boleh diubah dan lain-lain. Di atas, yang pertama kita boleh lihat project map. Project map ni seperti peta untuk projek kita. I hope you enjoyed the video, and with that, I would like to wrap up my session. Thank you very much.